Welcome to Fit in Fitness, the podcast that proves movement isn't just for the gym, it's for life. I'm Carly Fouth, also known as Fit Fun Carly. I'm a cancer survivor, fitness mentor, and founder of the Fit in Fitness method. This all started from my chemo chair, where I began sharing stories to bring hope and resilience to people going through cancer. Now I'm taking it further, expanding beyond my own breast cancer fight to highlight people from all walks of life who've used movement and mindset to overcome life's biggest curveballs. Whether you're facing illness, lost, or just feeling stuck, these are stories of grit, joy, and the small, powerful steps that can change everything. Welcome back to the Fit in Fitness podcast. Sometimes if I interview someone and I feel like because I do like to keep my podcast short, if we just touched upon things and I have a lot more questions to ask and I'm very interested in what the person has to say, then I ask the person to come back. So Lauren Callahan is one of the people that I invited back on the podcast because, especially after that protein shake realization that you mentioned in the last podcast, I was like, we got more to talk. I really love that episode. I love when people can break down nutrition and performance and expectations and I just like your whole approach to it. So welcome back to the Fit in Fitness podcast for part 2, Lauren.
Thank you, Carly. I'm so glad to be back. I honestly feel like we could just talk forever.
We could talk forever. Yeah. There's so many times when I'm on a run and I'm like, wonder what Lauren would say about this. And then I should write it down. I should wear a tank. It'll promote you on my runs. Just ask Lauren. I love it. So today I came up with a couple more things that I would like a little more guidance on. And I know a lot of my clients come to me with questions and I answer them to my best capability, but I am not a nutritionist. So I can only speak to what works for me or what I've learned from other people like Lauren. But I thought it would be interesting to have a little conversation about some of the things that I hear, like I said, from my clients. And then the first thing that keeps coming up is get a lot of calls from people in our meetings asking me my opinion on whether they should eat before they work out, especially in the morning. Should I get up and work out and then eat? Or should I have my coffee first with food? Or should I have my food before coffee? And there's all these things that they want guidance on. I will say I'll be open of what I do. And then Lauren, you can pick it apart or you can say that's right or wrong, but I'll probably still do it because it works for me for now.
Yeah.
So I've been doing
that's the point. That's probably my biggest point, but go ahead.
Yeah. So that is what I tell people, but I'm curious to hear your take on what I do. So I love eggs, love eggs. And I don't even know when I started this. It must be 15 years. I get up, have to eat something. So I have 2 soft-boiled eggs with no salt and pepper, just lovely soft-boiled eggs and coffee. I do have sips of my coffee before I eat my eggs. I do try to have a glass before I have my coffee. That doesn't always happen, but that has been what has worked for me for years. Sometimes I stray from it. If I'm traveling, to Denmark, for example, then sometimes I work out before I eat because that's just the way the schedule goes. But that is what I do. So Lauren, what do you think of my morning routine? And pick it apart and let me know what you advise people. Go.
So I think it's perfect. I really do. And I mean, we said this a second ago, it works for you. And that really is the camp that I tend to stay in. Now, if you had told me that you were eating some kind of ultra processed crap, I would not say what I just said.
Yeah.
You are eating something that is healthy, right? And it obviously works for you. You feel you can eat that and work out afterward. You're starting the day off with protein. That's always a good thing. If we were going to make it better, I would say add fiber to it.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, starting off your day with some protein and fiber from a whole food source, okay?
Can I interrupt you for 1 minute just to clarify? I have 2 breakfasts. So that's my early morning breakfast.
Yeah.
But then after I work out, then I'll have oatmeal with chia seeds. And that's where I do try to get more fiber in.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, but
okay.
Yes, perfect distinction. Yeah. Okay. So I actually normally do 2 breakfasts too. So I also will eat something first thing. I'll work out. And then I have basically another meal afterward. If a person is not a morning worker outer, then breakfast may look different. You may still have 2 breakfasts. I don't know, but yeah, ideally starting out your day with protein and fiber is the best thing. I would say if this works for you, if it's just eggs, there's no fiber, but this feels really good for you. You're working out afterward. You're having a fiber rich meal. hopefully with some protein too. It sounds perfect. As far as the coffee thing, it's fine. Like it's really fine. Like I don't okay, maybe have a few sips of water before I have my caffeinated drink, which is not actually coffee, it's a supplement. We can talk about that later.
Well, I'm very curious.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we talked about it a little bit in the past, but maybe not on the podcast. I'm trying to
Okay.
remember. But anyway, yeah, like I'll have that first thing too. I mean, okay, it is if we were going to talk about in the ideal world where everybody just like wakes up and hits the ground running and they have perfectly portioned, breakfast like ready to go, and then they go straight into their workout and it feels fine. Okay, that's one thing, but in reality world,
Yeah.
what what works for you? And I would say even with me, it's a little bit different. I have like three go-to breakfasts, and two of them I can eat like 10 minutes before I work out, and it's a full
What are
meal
they?
too. So one of them is a smoothie, and it's a very like berries and protein. And the protein comes from tofu and soy milk, and there's berries and bananas, and I drink like a quart size jar, so it's like 4 cups worth of smoothie. And I can have that and go straight into a workout. If I do like one of my other go-to breakfasts is overnight steel cut oats. I'm very
Mm,
used to having tons of fiber. I mean, this is like my thing, fiber first, right? So like this is having fiber pre-workout is a non-issue for me. So I can have that and again go straight into a workout. But I also have pancakes sometimes and I cannot eat that and go straight into a workout.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
got it, a little bit of variety. But for some people, they're waking up, and I mean, like I'm not the person to wake up at 5 and work out like 2 minutes later, okay? But some people are into that, right? And just may not be able to eat, and it's fine. If you need to work out as soon as you wake up, and you are not going to do it if you eat, just don't. It's fine. It's fine. You'll live.
It's not gonna affect your health or
Yeah,
there's no
I
right
mean,
or right or
if you feel fine, it's fine. Now, if you are struggling through your workout because you did not fuel yourself, that's different, and maybe you are somebody who eats a little too late at night, which I'm guilty of, right? So maybe you truly are in a state of, feeling fueled enough to be able to work out without eating breakfast. So, I'm very much a believer in just experiment a little bit and see what works for you. Certainly, before or after breakfast, I mean, or after a workout, let's make sure that in that morning breakfast time, that you are getting some good quality whole food sources of protein and fiber together, and you're golden. You're golden. If you feel good and you're doing that, go for it.
Okay, so what about like after? Because when I was training for bigger races, like
Mhm.
half Ironmans, that's as big of a race as I ever did. But I remember that was a couple of years ago. And I remember after I was done with like my long workouts, I usually did them in the morning, I would have chocolate milk, like as a quick, like right after the workout.
Yeah.
What do you recommend people eating like right after the workout? The other question I get is should it be protein? Should it be carbs? Should it be a mix? Obviously it should be fiber too, but what do you recommend for people after the?
Okay, so I'll give a few different scenarios, and a couple of them will be like super ideal scenarios, and then a couple are just, like maybe just real life. But yeah, you should have both protein and carbs and include fiber in there too. Okay, you should have the whole mix. What I don't want you to do, and especially in line with our conversation about protein shakes, is just go have a protein shake and call it good. Don't do that. Yeah, it disrupts your gut. It's also not paired with any fiber or good quality carbs. So we don't want that. We want a whole food source of protein and carbs. Okay, so best case scenario after your workout, especially as a woman, within 20 minutes, you would be having protein and carbs. Some would say ideally you'd be getting 30 grams of protein right away. For some people, it's really tough. I would say, even if you can get in at least 10, and then, pretty soon afterward, go for a full meal, that's really great. Okay. Now, the other school of thought, though, is that that may not be as important as we have always thought. Okay. When you eat a full meal with like 30 grams of protein ish, okay, I mean that's a little bit different for, each unique individual, but on average, general recommendation is if you're getting about 30 grams of protein in a meal with your healthy fiber and carbs, you are likely triggering muscle protein synthesis, which you want after your workout. Now, you can graze all day long and then get tons of protein in one meal. And you might get your protein count for the day, but you're only really going to trigger that muscle protein synthesis once. So ideally, you would eat like 4 times throughout the day, maybe about 4 hours apart. And at each of those 4 meals, you'd be getting about 30 grams of protein so that you can trigger that muscle protein synthesis. If you're doing that, but not necessarily eating right after a workout, that's okay. It's actually pretty important that you just go for that general, like every 4 hours, getting that full meal. That is fine. So that kind of negates, in some schools of thought, that negates the need to like eat immediately right after a workout every time, or else you're just gonna like lose your workout. Does that make
I
sense?
love that. Yes, that really clears it up for me too, because sometimes I'm questioning myself too. Because sometimes, like after a long run, it does. And this is going to lead into my next question, which I hope you don't mind me asking. But have I really had to stop really long distance runs because of my stomach. Like this has happened ever since I was little. Like I cramps. I make myself. I get sick. Like if I go too long, and it's not dehydration. I mean, I've tried everything. So sometimes I wasn't able to eat something right after a run because I was like, not for
Yeah.
TMI, but I was like in the bathroom
Yeah.
for a
Yeah.
long period of time.
Yeah.
That leads me to another question. So as far as like fiber in regards to performance and exercise, I always have to go to the bathroom. Number two, poops. At like especially when I start to swim, like that seems to trigger it. And especially when I start, like when I'm sometimes in a run. But now as I get older, it's more of like the swim. I don't know what is happening, but it just like triggers it. I notice that if I eat too much fiber before, that's like throws me off, but I want to get my fiber in. So what, like, do you have that problem? Like, do you encounter people with this problem of like, is it just a matter of getting used to that amount of fiber? But I feel like I'm trying so hard, and I know I'm not the only one out there because I talk to my friends who have to get up like 3 hours before a run to make sure that they are done
Okay.
and they're ready to go. But
Yeah.
what do you recommend for that? Like the bowels, the poops.
So yeah. No, it's a wonderful question.
Everyone poops. Everyone poops.
Yeah, everyone poops, and actually, like, I know that you know this, but we'll just point this out really quick because people are afraid to poop. Like that, I
Yeah,
get heard that told that all the time. Like, oh my God, but fiber makes you poop, and I'm like, well, you're supposed to, right?
you're supposed to
You
poop.
are supposed
Yeah.
to. So
Yeah.
let's keep that in mind. It's a good thing. But sometimes, the pooping experience is not very fun because we have not had sufficient fiber, so our gut is not healthy. So when we get fiber or something else, it's just not a pleasant experience for us. So sometimes it is just a matter of overall helping your gut to get healthy, which fiber is a huge part of that. But there may be some other things, right? Like again, this is
Yep.
nuanced, everyone's unique. That's why, we do a little coaching around this. But yeah, if you're not used to that fiber and then you're like, okay, I'm getting my fiber in and going on a swim, you your gut does need time to get used to it. So, to put this in perspective too, a general recommendation on increasing your fiber, like very general across the board, is to increase it 5 grams a week. Okay, you can do that in like a third cup of beans. It's not much, right? When I went exclusively plant-based, I mean, I did it like overnight and I was already eating like a good amount of plants and fiber, but then I was just like, okay, let's go all the way, right? And like, so I'll tell everybody else, do it gradual, baby steps. And I was like, let's do this today. And
Yeah.
so like overnight, I changed everything, way upped my fiber consumption. And the next 2 weeks were very interesting in the
Yeah.
bathroom. But then
Yeah.
after that, it was fine. Like it was just totally
It
fine.
was.
And that's because your gut just needs an opportunity to build up the bacteria, like that good beneficial bacteria that knows what to do with fiber and good for you foods, right? So bringing it around though, okay, like what about the swim?
Yeah.
You know,
Help me with my swim.
yeah, I do get it because that's not very fun. What I would say is on, at least for me, on a regular like training basis, if I'm swimming, I'm doing it near a bathroom. On race day though, yeah, I just make sure like I have to get up in time to eat and move around to make sure and also I'm already in, my body is already like used to fiber, like I'm used to, pooping like twice a day. Okay, let's just put it out there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't have any, like, I like talking about poop.
Yeah, great. Okay. Yeah, so I mean if you're all like let's certainly like train your gut on this before race day for sure. Yeah, so that on race day, like, yeah, we make sure get up in enough time to, eat, poop, or walk around, whatever else it
Yep.
takes to get it moving, right? So that you're golden before you get in the water when you're not near a bathroom.
Yeah. 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 That's always my biggest concern. And it's just, yeah, it's annoying. But
Well, and like for running too, I'd say. I mean, it's a thing. Like I remember actually posting in a run Facebook group one day, like I'm used to running on the trails because you can use a tree for your needs, right? And that's really handy. But one day,
oh my
like,
gosh, yeah.
yeah, like I just had to get in my run like in a neighborhood, and I was like, this sucks. Like there's nowhere to go and do.
There's no out.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't like being 45 and running in a neighborhood. Like I need bathrooms nearby.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah, no, you're not.
I'm not the only one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because that's like my biggest problem. But yeah, I just think that I used to be so embarrassed by it until I started talking to other people and they were like, no, I have the same thing. And I'm like, that's something that I really tried to help with nutrition. But I think, yeah, but I like the idea. I think I always thought that there was something wrong with me that I had to get up and get like walk around and go through this whole sequence. But then I think that's just part of being a human being who is an athlete, who is doing active things, just making sure you're prepared for it if you are
yeah.
running in a neighborhood with no bathrooms.
And yeah, and I'll share the response that I got in the Facebook group. It was pretty funny because what I did was, I posted a picture of me like in this neighborhood, and it's a ladies only ultra running group, and I was like, okay, ladies, let's be real. Like we love trees, we love the trails, we love nature, but what we really like is that we can go to the bathroom whenever we want when we're running on a trail. And somebody in there said something about, pooping, right? And I was like, thank God I didn't have to do that, right? I just had to pee that day. But she like said something about how she's been in a neighborhood, she had to poop. She went up to somebody's door and grabbed their newspaper, pulled out the like magazine ads and used that and then put the rest of the newspaper back and did her business wherever she did it. I was like, that's brave. Okay.
That sounds like something I would do in my younger days. Not now. I've worked it out. But yes, I've been in that position. And the other thing is I'm going to out myself. It's funny you say like the pee and the poop thing. When I'm swimming and I'm like, no one else has to get out of the pool as much as I do. Like I'll swim for 10 minutes and I have to get out. And I'm always like, oh my gosh, I have to pee. But it's really not pee. It's really like I can't. And so I'm outing myself. Anybody who sees me
Yeah,
swim, you know
no, I
really what I'm
get it.
doing.
And if it's in the
Yeah, I'm
morning,
like,
holy cow.
no, it's terrible. It's terrible. So yeah. So okay, that clears that up for me. I also want to talk about supplements because I get a lot of my clients asking me what supplements I take. I am not a supplement girl, but when I do give a recommendation of something that works for me, a lot of people I think are like, I've taken it, but I don't see much of a difference. And I think for a lot of supplements, I'll use glucosamine as an example. That's one of the supplements that I've started taking. And I do think it's helped me with the minor aches and pains in my joints, especially from chemo, like residual
Mhm.
stuff. It has worked for me, but it's not an overnight thing. It's not something that's going to be like, it's not going to take my hip, the pain I have in my hip, which can't be solved by glucosamine. I'm still getting to the bottom of that. What should people's expectations be with supplements generally?
Yeah, such a great question. So, yeah, let me first like affirm that it's very overwhelming. The supplement industry is huge. There's a lot of money in it, okay? And it's very
Too
overwhelming. Now, that
much.
doesn't mean that it's bad. It doesn't. Like,
Yeah.
there are really great things, and actually, I would say pretty necessary because of modern living. Like, so for example, like just your bread, a couple hundred years ago, your bread would have been more nutritious. And it's not even like whole wheat versus white flour. I mean, that is it. You should be having a whole grain. But I mean, just the vitamins and minerals you get in the flour now are like they pale in comparison to what we had hundreds of years ago. So there is a real need for supplementation. Okay, so that being said, it is overwhelming. There's a lot going on in the supplement industry. Um, so what should your expectations be? Anything that is generally like a good for you supplement.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yep.
really often may not experience any gains until about 6 to 8 weeks of taking it consistently, right? So it's not an overnight thing. And so sometimes it's just because it's so gradual, it's hard to notice that anything did happen, right? And sometimes it's just that you maybe haven't been taking it for a while, and then one day you're like, "What is going on?" And you're trying to figure it out, right? So yeah, certainly if you were going to try something, you probably want to give it 6 to 8 weeks of trying it to see any benefit out of it.
Okay, 6 to 8 weeks. And then let's say, in your opinion, top 3 supplements that women of perimenopause, menopause age should consider taking. What do you think those supplements
So as far
should be?
as like vitamins and minerals, I would say that a woman always needs to check her iron. So iron is one of those things that well, okay, first of all, let me say this. Strangely enough, men need 8 grams of iron, which you like primarily get from protein sources, right? And men typically are the ones that are like downing the protein sources,
Yes.
sort of. I mean, that's very
Yep.
stereotypical, but men need 8 grams and women need like 18 or yeah,
Yeah.
18. So like significantly more than men. So just keeping that in mind. But iron is one of those things that if you need it, you like really need it. Like you are not going to
Hmm.
feel good if you don't have it. However, if you don't need it, do not supplement. It will quickly get toxic. So that's why I say don't just like go and take it. Like you need to check with your doctor to see if you actually need iron. So that's one. Omega 3s are typically one that I would say that's like a good general across the board kind of recommendation, but always like check with your doctor on that one. And that the one that I think any woman, especially over 35, should be taking is not a vitamin or mineral supplement. It's an all natural peptide supplement. So to be clear, it's not the synthetic stuff, not the synthetic injectables. Those are quite popular on social media right now. But this is like a natural orally taken one. It's called Fit and it's extracted from fava beans. And the reason that I love it is because it stimulates muscle protein synthesis, like 4 times better than whey, 5 times better than creatine, 6 times better than leucine alone. So, especially for women who are aging, and again, like anything over 35, like you're just looking at more and more accelerated muscle loss, which is aging. Like that is an aging issue.
Hmm.
And it's also, it's a metabolic issue, it's a hormone issue. So anything that you can do to support your muscles without just like stuffing yourself with protein all day long, that's a really important one. That's one that I take every day. And that is one that I said in the morning, I don't have coffee, but I have like a caffeinated supplement drink. This is the one. There's actually a caffeinated version and a non-caffeinated version. But I choose the caffeinated one. That's what I want to.
I'm glad you do. I'm glad to hear that because
Yeah.
I just don't understand these people who don't need caffeine in the morning. I'm like, that
Yeah.
is like, I look forward to the morning. I love
I
my
too,
coffee. I'm never giving it
yeah.
up. Never giving it up.
I have
Nope.
that. I have my caffeine, my
Yeah.
peptide, and I stretch. And I mean, that is like the most wonderful 20 minutes of my day. Like, I love it.
Right.
It's what I immediately do when I wake up. It sets my whole day. And yeah, and
I love it.
caffeine just like opens up your, I don't know, spirit.
It
My
does.
opinion.
No, it totally does. It just like you do that art, the breathing. It just calms your nervous system, and it's a great way to set yourself up for a good day. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, this has been so good. I love talking to you. Now I feel like I have even more questions, so we might have to do a
Yay.
third one. But just remind us where my listeners can get in touch with you if they would like to ask you questions, or just you're on Instagram. You do great reels, so
Thank
tell
you.
everyone all the
Thank you. Great.
things.
So do you, by the way. I love yours. I do. I really do.
Thanks.
They
I'm
pop up a
trying.
lot.
You and I, we're trying.
It's
I feel like we
fun.
have very similar. No, we're not talking about the same things, but I think we both have. I think it's
A good mix of
like
fun
it's
and education. That's what I would.
yeah, and also like authentic. That's the word I was looking
Yes.
for.
Yes.
Like you practice what you preach, and so do I. Like we're real. I'm
Yeah.
just patting ourselves on the back.
Yeah.
So we do a good job, Lauren.
It's a, wait. So I'm 45, right? Like I don't know. I don't
I'm
know.
48. I'm older
Okay.
than you.
So
Yeah.
like I just want to. We'll pat ourselves on the back because making social media reels did not come naturally to us, right? We had to learn this, and we're
You know
still
how many
learning.
years I've been at this? It's like
Yeah.
8 years of setting up my camera and being creative and making sure the lighting is right and that, like keep it real, but I also want it to be pleasing to the eye to
Yeah.
some
I feel
extent.
like if we were like 18 though, we could just like put anything out
We'd
and
be
have like a
this
million
firing them
views.
out. Yeah. Yeah. But we're doing good for our age,
Yeah.
the
Yeah. So
elderly
anyway, thank
social
you.
media people.
And
You're
yes,
welcome.
Lauren B. Callahan on Instagram. Lauren B.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. I'll put that in the show
Carly.
notes, just like I did for the first episode. But I thank you for being with me. You're the best. I'll continue to be cheering you on from social media and listening to everything you say and make sure that I'm eating enough fiber.
That's right. Thank you, Carly. I love this and I love talking with you. Thank you for this.
Thanks for joining me on Fit in Fitness. My hope is that every episode inspires you to see movement as medicine for your body, mind, and spirit. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please follow the show, share it with a friend, and keep moving forward, one step, rep, or breath at a time. Until next time, keep fitting in fitness wherever life takes you.